We start with seated mountain pose. When you are ready, you may first want to make contact with your feet on the floor. You can move your feet back and forth on the floor. You choose how big this movement should be, smaller or bigger. It's always your choice how you want to intensify your sense of contact with the floor. Move exactly the way that's appropriate for you at the very moment. Perhaps you'd like to find your form of seated mountain pose by deciding where you want to place your feet, at hip, width, a bit closer or further apart, whatever feels appropriate for you right now. For warm-up our neck muscles, we once again start in the seated mountain pose. If you like, you can adjust your position to make sure that your feet have solid contact with the floor and you have solid contact with your chair. When you're ready, start by turning your head. Find your own speed, your own rhythm. You can either pause briefly at the end of each movement and perhaps sense your muscle activity in your neck muscles, or you decide to move from right to left without taking a break. Whatever feels appropriate for you. Perhaps you'd like to do one or two more movements. And then return to a neutral position. For warming up the neck muscle, you also can try this: tilt your head downward, pull your chin in the direction of your sternum, and then raise it again. Here as well, you decide the intensity of your movement, how intense you'd like to raise your head, and how much you pull in your chin. When you move your head upward, you may feel a stretch in the front neck muscles. And when moving downward, you may feel an extending and stretching of the muscles in the back of your neck. Decide if you want to move your head some more times or come back to a neutral position right now. We start in the familiar seated mountain pose. You may want to once again spend a moment focusing on your contact with the floor and the chair. And maybe you may want to straighten your spine a bit. Now I would like to introduce you to the next asana, the triangle. To do the triangle, it is also easier if we slide a bit forward and place our legs a bit further apart so that we can have more space. We can now do the triangle like this. Land your right arm on your right leg and stretch your left arm upward. When you have reached the position, you may sense a mild stretch in your left arm and perhaps also the weight on your right leg. You may also feel that you are holding your breath. If so, just let it flow again. Now I'll start counting again from 4 to 3. You can leave this asana at any time, or 2 to 1. Do this at your own pace, your own way, returning to the neutral position again. Before we turn to the left side, you may want to pause for a brief moment and allow your muscles a little rest and relaxation. When you're ready, bend forward and place your left arm on your left leg. Then extend your right arm upward. How far you go and how intensively you'd like to do this pose is up to you. You may sense a difference between right and left. Sometimes the two sides aren't the same. You may notice a stretch of your chest musculature, even in your right arm. If you like, you can stay in this pose for another moment or release it at your own speed. I'll count backward again from 4, 3, 2, and 1, and return to this neutral position. After doing this pose, you may feel like moving your shoulders a bit, relaxing them again, or even sitting very quietly to sense whether the tension is leaving your shoulders muscles. If you like to experiment with this intensity, I will show you an intensive triangle. If you like, try it like this. Place your right hand on your right ankle and once again extend your left arm upward. Take your time to arrive in this posture. You may want to check again if your breath is still flowing. Perhaps you sense the contact of your arm and your hand with your leg. Or there may be a sense of weight shift to the right or even more intensive opening, the stretching in your chest and arm. You may want to end this form of triangle or stay for 1 or 2 more breaths and then release this pose together with me, or even stay longer. It's always your choice. Before we practice the left side, we may take the time for some breaths to allow our muscles to relax. When you're ready, place your left arm on your left ankle. Turn to the right, and once again, extend your right arm. Upward. In this pose, you may sense the weight of your right arm and perhaps even the contact with your left arm on your leg. You may also feel a stretch and extension on your right side. If you like, you can stay here with me for 1 or 2 more breaths and then release this asana. Or you can also stay longer and then return whenever you want to the neutral position, the seated mountain pose. For warming up our shoulders, we again start in the seated mountain pose. You may feel your feet in solid contact with the floor and the solid sense of contact with the sitting surface. If you like, you may even grow a little bit toward the ceiling. When you're ready, start by moving your shoulders in smaller or bigger circles. At your own pace and in your own rhythm. If you like, you can also change directions, either from front to back or from back to front. For another variation of shoulder circles, you can try this. Place your hands on your shoulders and clasp your shoulder muscles, and then start to move your elbows in circles. This can be very small and delicate, or if you feel like it, even big and intense. When you circle like this, you may feel the movement of your shoulders and shoulder muscles under your hands and how your muscles are working. You may perhaps feel the contact of your fingers in your hands. Here as well, you can also change directions if you like, or stay with the same direction. I'll count backwards. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's your choice if you want to release the asana together with me, and whenever it's appropriate for you, return to neutral. If you like, allow yourself to sense your shoulder muscles for a brief in the seated mountain pose. For the next position, the boat pose, once again start in the seated mountain pose. Activate your stomach muscles by pulling your navel towards your spinal column. When you're ready, raise your arms parallel to the floor or a bit lower or higher, whatever feels appropriate for you. Now you can either choose the familiar variation by raising your leg at an angle or stretching your leg. It is up to you. You also have the possibility of leaning back a bit or staying upright, whatever feels right at the moment. You may sense the weight of your leg, or it may even start to tremble a little. And perhaps you also notice that you're holding your breath. You can already let go or wait until after I count. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Once you return to the seated mountain pose, you may want to pause for a moment. There may be a difference in the sensation of your muscles between right and left, in your thigh or in your leg. Perhaps you also sense something entirely different or nothing at all. Whatever you feel is okay. When you're ready to switch to the left side, start again by consciously activating your stomach muscles. Then raise your arms again as high as you want. Then either return to the former variation of boat pose with your leg bent, or you decide to stretch your leg. On this side as well, you can either lean back or stay upright. Perhaps you sense the weight of your left leg, the activation in the thigh musculature that holds your leg. and your muscles may also start to tremble a bit. I'll count backward for 3, 2, 1. Again, we'll return to the seated mountain pose. Once again, give your muscles a moment to relax and regenerate. If you like to intensify the contact of your sit bones by rocking from right to left, moving like this, you may sense your sit bones and your weight shifts from right to left. Or if you prefer, you can also experiment by shifting front to back, rocking forward and backward. Moving back, you may sense your stomach muscles. You may also feel the relaxation in your belly muscles as you move to the front. You can start moving at any time, whenever you feel like it, and for no reason at all. Or if you like, you can round the comments and move in circles. You can play with the extent of your circles, bigger or smaller, or the speed slower or faster. It is entirely up to you. Find your own rhythm in your own way how you want to move. If you like, you can also change the direction. When you go on circling, you may feel your stomach muscles as you move. Moving to each side, you may feel the activation of your muscles at the edge of your body. I will count from 4 to 1, but you can stop this movement at any time. It's always your choice. 4, 3, 2, 1. Once you came back to neutral, you may want to allow yourself a break for 1 or 2 breaths before moving your shoulders. For the next position, the staff pose, we slide a bit forward. When you're ready, stretch your legs and when you have reached staff pose, you can either leave your hands on your thighs or let them hang down at your side. Whatever feels appropriate for you. You may now sense your sit bones and perhaps even feel a slight stretch at the back of your legs. If you like, you can intensify the stretch at the back of your legs by pulling up your toes. You can either stay there or start with small movements with your feet. Relax and tense them alternatively. Or just stay still, pulling your toes towards you. I often notice that I hold my breath when I don't move. If you share this experience, simply allow your breath to start flowing again. Another variation of staff pose is to raise one leg. When you decide to try this, tense your stomach muscles by pulling your navel into the direction of your spinal column to protect the lumbar spine. When you're ready, lift your right leg and check whether your breath is still flowing. You may sense the weight of your leg very clearly and remind yourself that you can let go at any time. Or you decide to finish together with me after 4, 3, 2, 1. You may now feel a difference between right and left, perhaps in the muscle that has worked or not. And sometimes the differences are very subtle or quite difficult to feel, and this is also fine. When you're ready, once again, remember your stomach muscles and activate them before practicing on the left side. Lift your left leg and take a moment to check whether your breath is still flowing. If you like, you can place your hand on your thigh and perhaps sense the activity of your large thigh muscles under your hand. I'll count backward again, but you can let go at any time. 4, 3, 2, 1. You can either stay like this for a moment, or perhaps it feels appropriate to pull in your legs and sit back on your chair again, taking a deep breath. This deep breath often comes quite automatically when we have tensed our stomach muscles, and a bit of relaxation spreads through your body once again. For this next asana, the cat-cow pose, I'd like to invite you to move your spinal column. This means that you round your spine for the cat and let's arc back and straighten it slightly, or even back bend for the cow. You can experiment with the movements. Bend your spine subtle between tiny poles or distinct. If you feel like, you can choose a distinct forward bend and an intensive back bend. Well, as you choose the pace, experiment by moving faster or slower. If you like, you can synchronize your breathing in this asana by inhaling when you go up, then exhaling when you go down, and simply allowing your breath to flow. The decision is up to you. In this rhythmic movement, you may once again feel your sit bones, or perhaps also the movements in your back. Or perhaps you sense the contact between your hands and your thighs. You can now come into a neutral position, or do it with the after. 4, 3, 2, and 1. For the next asana, the back bend, I sit sideways so you have a better view. We start in the cedar mountain pose for the back bend. When you're ready, pull your sternum upward. If you like, you can also pull your shoulders back a bit. You decide how far you'd like to lean. This can be just a tiny bit of quite intensively. As an alternative, you can also bring your hands together behind your back and interlace your fingers. Then pull your arms back. You may feel a stretch of your chest muscles in the pose. Or perhaps also sense a stretch in the muscles of your upper arms. And perhaps also in the contact of your hands behind your back. I'll count backward again from 4 to 3, 2, 1. And you can come out of this pose at your own speed. Here as well, You may have a feeling of wanting to move your shoulders or any other type of impulse that comes from your body at this moment. After a static pose, you may also want to take a deep breath. The next asana is just a forward bend. For this asana, it's helpful to slide a bit forward and create a bit of space for your upper body by placing your feet a bit wider apart. You can practice the forward bend by leaning forward and supporting yourself on your thighs. You can either stay like this, or if it feels appropriate for you, you can allow your upper body to fold further and let your head hang down. It is always your choice. You may sense the weight of your upper body on your thighs in this position. The contact with your forearms on your thighs and perhaps also the weight of your head, but also even something entirely different or nothing at all. It is also possible to sometimes not feel very much in a pose. Another variation is a deeper forward bend. If you want to try this variation, place your upper body on your thighs, your hands on your feet or in front of on the floor, and allow your entire body to hang down. You may feel a stretch in your lower, perhaps also the contact of your hands on your feet or the floor. You may also sense that the weight of your body has shifted more to the front. I'll count backward, but you can come out of this pose at any time. 4, 3, 2, 1. And leave this asana at your own speed and in your own rhythm. Perhaps you'd like to give yourself a moment to sense your muscles in your back and allow your muscles to relax and let your breath flow.